What's up guys, Steven Spikes here with the Spike Signal, and today we're going to be finishing up part of our discussion with Arch Enemy's song Vultures, the music theory that goes in to make the song sound the way it does. This time we're going to be talking about some of the more melodic elements in this song that'll be the chorus and part of the rhythm in the solo that sounds pretty empowering and beautiful. It's coming up right now here on the Spike Signal. Just to get ourselves caught up a little bit, last time we got done talking about the verse, the pre-chorus, and some other riffs in the Arch Enemy song Vultures that are really kind of intense, kind of creepy, kind of intense and heavy sounding. Now we're going to go ahead and mix it up some just like the band does in the song by talking about some of the more melodic sections. So just to kind of quickly recap, more or less we are in C standard tuning. A lot of this song is found in C minor, and we've been using a lot of the harmonic minor and some melodic minor stuff, arguably, as well as chromaticism, to have the song sound really aggressive and intense up to this point. But now we're going to be getting into a little bit more of a melodic section. So just to properly underscore the contrast, I'm going to go back just a little bit and go ahead and play one of the more intense riffs before getting into the chorus and the melodic section so we can hear the juxtaposition between the two. So here we go. Alright, so as you can tell very quickly, the whole song gets a lot more cohesive out of nowhere, with maybe a small exception we'll talk about. Now, going into the chorus, we have this very nice, very typical sort of bit where the drums and everything cut out, let the guitars go before everything swells back and hits you in the chorus. And when you get hit with the chorus, you find yourself once again in C minor, just like you'd arguably interpret the last part to be, even though it had a lot of accidentals. We are on the flat 6 right here. So always a great chord to go to when you're looking for empowerment or drive in a song or in a chorus. Moving to the 5. For a moment, going back to the C minor, and that should in fact be a C minor right there before. Doing something a little bit odd. What's this? Well, this section here where when I first heard the song, honestly, it sounds more normal to me right now and everything because I've been looking at the song so much and listening to it so much, it sounds more typical to me. But right here, when I first heard it, I was like, what is that? It sounds very weird, it sounded like a little off to me, honestly, but like after listening to it, I really started to appreciate it. Like many things, the more you listen to it, the more you like it. And what's happening here is that the bass itself, one of the most fundamental tones when talking about music theory, the bass is actually drawing from, just like we talked about last time, the melodic minor. It's playing a natural 6 right here. This A in the key of C minor, the A is typically flatted, and the A in this case is usually the flat 6 in C minor. But now the A is natural, and what's happening there, what you get out of that is more or less a melodic minor sound. And you not only have that going on with the bass, you also have that going on with the rhythm guitar right here. And what's it doing? Well, once again, it's kind of doing one of those sort of not quite power chord, but more like a 6 thing. When you play a harmonic minor scale, what you have end up happening to the implied chords out of the 6 and out of the 7, out of the sharp 6, the sharp 7, or in this case, the natural 6 and the natural 7, because of the key that we're sort of in. Those 6s and 7s, the chords that are implied from them become diminished. So what does that mean? That means you end up having a flat 5. But once again, as we've seen in other cases, to get around that, what you can do is go ahead and instead of playing the perfect 5th, you play the 6th instead, in the flat 6 in this case. It's a nice way to be able to draw out a sound of another scale, a sound of something like the melodic minor scale, without the insane brutalness and dissonance that might come from utilizing the flat 5 within that. Just go up a whole step and use the flat 6, and that gets you to something that still has a kind of off-kilter sound, but fits a lot more cohesively into everything. Melodic minor note. This right here, if we're talking strict melodic minor, would in fact be an A diminished. That would be the implied chord form technically, but I didn't really put that there initially because I was like, well, it's not playing a flat 5, it's playing a flat 6 and everything like that. But, you know, I'll go ahead and leave it that way for now. So, really cool effect. This is actually, to me, like, honestly pretty exciting because, you know, typically when you hear melodic minor stuff, harmonic minor stuff, more so melodic minor though, it's in the context of like jazz music or classical music. I haven't come across yet a song that I know for a fact, just based off of hearing it, has melodic minor usages in it. Now, I'm sure there are metal songs I've heard that has it. I'm talking about metal songs, by the way. But it's really nice to be able to look at a song like this and know beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is in fact what melodic minor sounds like in the context of a metal song and in a melodic part of a metal song. This is what melodic minor sounds like in a diatonic, very smooth, very melodic passage in a melodic death metal song. So I'm really happy about this. I'm really looking forward to being able to use a tool such as this because, like, I got to tell you, man, a movement like this, I simply wouldn't have come up with myself, all right? Like, I would not have thought to take a passage and use something like that, like a flat 6 built off of the sharp 6 in the melodic minor scale. I wouldn't have thought to do that, but now we can because we're looking at it right here. Arch Enemy did it, so we can do the same thing. Good stuff. So let's go ahead and play it again, listening now to the lead line. One thing I want to talk about before we get into the lead line actually is just the idea of like a song coming to rest chord-wise on the 4. We saw this again in Momentary Bliss by Soilwork, where we saw the chorus kind of end and chill out on a 4, which is nice because, you know, it's a little bit of a different thing. You know, ending on the flat 7 is common. Ending on, if you wanted to end on the 2, that'd be, you know, maybe dissonant, but that would also be something that's kind of done. But this is also nice. Something else to keep in mind. If you want a chorus to kind of end in a sort of chilled out fashion, something you can do to facilitate that. And by chilled out, I just mean like not pulling you so hard to the next thing. One way you can facilitate that is by ending off your chorus on the 4, as shown right here. F minor is the 4th chord in C minor. So good stuff right there. Now, let's, for real this time, go ahead and talk about what the lead line is doing. So, now, another cool thing here, done often, but not seen as quite as much as some other things I feel like I've looked at as of late. Arch Enemy is using octave lines. And like I said, we have seen this before, but basically just playing a series of notes and stacking an octave on top of that. We saw Omnium Gatherum doing that in Ego, actually, but like I said, you know, there's often a lot of thirds used and other things. It's nice just to hear some straight octave usages, and I'll say too, I feel having the octaves employed there and not just playing the higher line or the lower line by itself is a good way to add a lot of character to the song without it sounding, you know, like it jumps out too much or it's getting too outside of itself. It's all very controlled and contained and cohesive, of course, by utilizing these octave chords. So cool stuff right there. Let's go and listen all the way through. And once again, we hear the melodic minor being employed. This right here, this A is once again borrowed from the melodic minor, from C melodic minor specifically. And then we hear this little, very nice, or rather, let's do it so we can hear it. And then, na-na-na-na. That very nice lick. I like that a lot. Also employing a melodic minor, giving it a very kind of almost major sound in a fashion of speaking. So, two great instances in the same song where we get to hear what the melodic minor scale sounds like in the context of metal, all just in one chorus in two separate spots of the chorus, utilizing not only like lead lines, but also the bass and the rhythm guitar itself. So good stuff right here. The next thing that I want to get to, staying in the theme of melody within the song, there is a section in the solo that actually uses a very awesome melodic line as well. And I just want to get to that real quick. Now, I'm not going to talk about the solo in this video. I will in another one. We will get there, rest assured. But I just wanted to jump to this section. It sounds very similar in terms of the melody. It's right after this part right here. Yeah, so let's pay attention to what the rhythm guitar is doing and key signature stuff and things like that. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, then it repeats. Now, what happens here is more or less we go to B flat minor for this section of the solo. Prior to this, depending on how you want to look at it, we are more or less in either C major or C minor or C major blues, depending on how you want to look at it. And though we're not going to get into that section in this video, we'll talk about it next time, I'm going to play that part so you can hear the transition once more. So very aggressive, very angry. And it cuts entirely to melody. So again, that section prior, just take my word for it for now, because we'll get into it later. I would say that we were in either the key of C major or C minor, depending on how you want to look at it, for that angry sounding passage we just listened to before the melodic one. Then we go to B flat minor, which is here. So we're either going only 2 keys away on the circle of fifths, if you want to view us being right here, or I think more appropriately, I'd say the last section maybe would have been best understood as being in C major blues, which would actually be quite a rotation around the circle of fifths, quite a bit, almost entirely to the other side of it. Whatever way you want to parse it together, the result is a super like awesome pull from a very grindy, I don't mean like grindcore, but just like very angry sounding passage to complete and total melody and like just like an awesome time, the best way I could describe it. So very interesting key movement right there. If you want a powerful transition from one key to another, jump across the circle of fifths, man. Like go far, like jump all the way almost across it, or even down like a quarter of it, such as from here to here or from here to here. That'll give you a really big pull and ascension from a darker section of a song if you want to move into a lighter section or a more melodic section. So cool stuff right there. Let's go ahead and now actually talk about a little bit more of just the rhythm in this passage. I'm not so interested in the solo yet, but let's get into the rhythm. We're from the flat 6 to the flat 7, hanging out in the flat 7, going to the 1. More or less repeating. Momentarily, I'd say going to, and not just based off of the bass, but based off of all the other notes being played, momentarily transitioning to C minor, just for a second here. You can hear it in that part too. You know, when you hear that part come, it sounds very different. It sounds very upbeat out of nowhere. Not that the rest wasn't upbeat. So just for a moment, transitioning now from B flat minor to C, just for a measure, for a single measure. Very quick stuff going on right here. Then we go back to B flat minor. This is more or less a repeat chord-wise. Back to the flat 6, flat 7, to the 1. So yeah, not too much more to talk about there. Just wanted to underscore a couple things, you know, those being that, you know, jumping from a certain key to another key is a great way to give your song a lot of like pull and like really kind of throw the listener into another state of mind by going around a far away in the circle of fifths. Something else you can do, as we saw, very, very quickly and swiftly, just even for a moment, jump to another key for a single measure. You know, it's a very interesting effect, but it's really awesome. I really love it a lot, and you get that sort of feel by jumping to another key, if only for a moment, right here. And then we go on, we go back to B flat minor, and eventually we get done with the solo. And then we return right back to where we were, which is where I think would best be argued to be C major blues. And yeah, so we go from this kind of angry, grindy, intense part to a really kind of happy, upbeat part with a happy, upbeat solo and a little interesting key change thrown in there that also sounds upbeat. Then we get back to the sort of angry and like aggressive part and such like that. So a lot of things happening there, a lot of key movements happening there, a great study of transitioning keys and thinking about where to move within different keys to get a certain sound and a certain effect. Definitely very, very nice explanation of Arch Enemy's skill when it comes to writing music. So good stuff right there. Guys, if you liked this video, I would very much appreciate it if you could check out a new song, or fairly new anyways, that I released on Spotify called Telestial Fray. You can find it by typing in spikessignal, just like you see it here on YouTube. If you'd let me know what you think about it, I'd really appreciate it. But one way or the other, come back next time and we'll continue talking about Vultures by Arch Enemy at the Spike Signal. Thank you.